Thursday, June 10th. And as usual, I'm searching for something to talk about today, and I usually do my search a day in advance. So yesterday morning, I find this article about how the tax information for the 15 or 20 or 30 richest people in the world got into the hands of Propublica. Now, of course, the tax people are very upset about this, and Biden administration is very upset about this. And the gentleman reporter was on CNN giving an interview and stating that they were very careful with the information they got. But, of course, he wouldn't say how he got it. And that they really reached out to the people involved in this article, and those people are Elon Musk and Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos and Mike Bloomberg, the richest men that you could think of. And all of those people said that the information that this article had was true. And so the question arises, how come Jeff Bezos pays virtually no income tax, and he's worth billions of dollars? Well, the reason is that we, the American people, live under a tax code which does not tax your wealth, it taxes your income. So if you're the president of a large corporation, you can choose to take a salary of $100,000. Which would put you in a certain tax bracket, and that's all you'd be required to pay. And then you were allowed to take deductions against that $100,000. Meanwhile, you're worth $1 billion or $2 billion. But that money just sits there. And if you look at Warren Buffett, he's been doing this for a long, long time. He doesn't take dividends. He doesn't pay dividends, because that would add to his income. In fact, there have been stories that his secretary makes more money than he does in salary. And it's probably true. So the problem is not with the people of wealth. They are not cheating, and neither are our corporations cheating when they don't pay any taxes, because the tax code that the United States runs under, to be blunt, sucks. It has many, many loopholes and many, many exemptions for corporations and individuals. And the poor schnook who makes $125,000 in salary and probably has only a house to his name for equity, he's paying top dollar on his $125,000 income because he's not entitled to any exemptions. And we in New York State got screwed when they decided, in their infinite wisdom, that during the tax code the tax cut that we took a couple years ago, the real estate tax exemption should be capped at $10,000. Well, that's great if you're in Wyoming or Montana or Idaho or Nebraska, where you don't pay that kind of real estate taxes. So it doesn't affect you. But in New York, in New Jersey, Connecticut, we got hammered because we pay a lot in real estate taxes. Now, Biden and the government are upset because this tax information was leaked. And I don't know why they should be so upset that this tax information was leaked. I think anybody with a half brain realizes that this was going on. Yes, the personal income returns are, they're sacred. They're not supposed to be in the public domain. So I can understand them being upset about that. But it seems to me they're not really upset about changing the tax code in some way, shape, or form so that it's more equitable. They're not looking at the tax code to change some of the loopholes, to cut out some of the ridiculous exemptions that have been on the books since the early 1900s, when the companies needed exemptions like that because they had to grow the business. But now, 100 years later, there are still farm subsidies, there are still other exemptions that exist that are no longer necessary. And we should be taking a good hard look in the era of robotics. Because every robot that takes the job of an individual is costing the government tax money. And the robot works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no time off, no vacation, no sick time, no coffee breaks, no piss breaks, nothing like that. And he's doing the job of somebody who might make $40,000 or $50,000 a year. So don't you think that the company should be required to pay the taxes on that $50,000 a year employee who doesn't exist anymore? That would be a wonderful idea if somebody said, we're going to do that. And we're going to do some other things, or we're going to close some other loopholes. Instead, they're worried about why it leaked and how it leaked. And that's true. They should worry about that stuff. It's not good to have information like this running rampant around the country. But there's a lot more work that could be done to make the tax code more equitable. I mean, it seems to me that if a company is making lots of money, they shouldn't be entitled to certain exemptions. Or there should be some base number that the corporation has to pay based upon their income level. Let's say they made like Amazon. They made $11 billion. So they should pay some portion of that. They shouldn't be allowed a total exemption on $11 billion. Now, that would take some doing, and nobody in their right mind is ever going to agree on what that number should be. But there should be something done about the tax code. And people shouldn't be so crazy and upset by the information that was leaked, because this information was known without being leaked. And there are many, many individuals in this country who would be affected by some changes. And those individuals are not poor schnooks, and they have influence. So I don't know if you're really going to see any changes. So right now, the only thing that is really upsetting the government at all is the fact that the information was leaked. And I'm sure that they'll try to find the leaker, because they view that as very serious, more serious than the fact that the tax code needs to be changed. And so that's my story for today, and I appreciate the fact that you are willing to listen to my stories, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.